Like I can already feel like you guys are gonna like do cool stuff.
Into the motive.
Just being good to one another.
Yeah, you guys are doing a good thing here.
The people at the top collaborate, and the people that are at the bottom compete.
Yeah, it resulted in me shooting him.
I was charged with 109 and a 50.
Ultimately, you'll get to where you want to go if you push yourself enough.
I genuinely love this conversation.
I love the Motive Podcast.
Welcome back to the Motive Podcast. I'm your host, Leo Kosach. Alongside me is my co-host, Cole Cuccinata. And joining us today, the co-founder of Tellemica, entrepreneur, and aviation and automotive enthusiast, and guys, accidental dog influencer, if you just saw. Guys, please welcome to the podcast, Ed Foley. Ed, thank you for being here.
Yo, what's going on, Thanks for coming.
I know it's been a little bit in the making. I know you through the car world here and there, and obviously you've seen your stuff. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, dude, we've been working on this for what, 3 years maybe?
Yeah, and the pod's evolved a lot since then, so I'm happy that you're here now. So
likewise, man. I've been following you guys ever since you first invited me on. I started following you guys.
Sure.
And I've definitely seen the evolution of what you guys started with to what you guys have been doing most recently, and I kind of like the new direction you guys are taking it too. I think it's really cool and really neat.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Like, we've done more of the street interview stuff recently, and it's like I've said this on the podcast, and I've talked to other people. It's like I don't want to get away from this. Like, this is what the Motive's been founded on. Like, good talks, having cool guests on. Where it's like we're going out on the street and just interviewing a bunch of drunk college kids. It's totally different. I don't want to be known just for that. But it's cool if we can balance it. So I like it.
I agree with that, but I also have to say it's bringing a different audience too, and it's a little different spin, and it's a little bit of a younger vibe, a younger feel, and I think that's good. And I mean, you've been getting some traction on some videos lately, so that's all positive stuff
for sure.
And I think it's a good evolution, man. I think that's actually something that people should be doing. They should be evolving. They shouldn't just stay in static and stay in everything that they've been doing. I think that chasing a little bit of that, what you want to, what would be the best way to put it? Chasing that, just self-development, getting better and evolving as things come along. So
for sure, I love that. So I want to start. So where did you grow up locally around here, the Philly area?
No, I actually grew up in North Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in North Jersey. That's actually kind of a cool story how I came down here. So my father's a luthier. He makes guitars. That's what he does for a living. And we were delivering a guitar. And it was actually in Northeast Maryland. His client was buying a guitar down there, and I ended up meeting who is now my wife. We've been married for a little over 20 years now.
Okay.
And but yeah, we were kind of set up on a blind date down there, and I ended up moving down here. It was either she was going to move to Jersey or I was going to move down here, so it was kind of a crapshoot. She was a hairdresser at the time, so it would have taken her a little bit more schooling to go back to school, and I was working at a cell phone store, so it was an easy transfer for me. I worked at AT&T and just moved down here, and the rest is history.
How did you play guitar like growing up? Was that in your family or the craftsmanship? What was that like?
So I would say that playing guitar was my very first hobby. I started playing guitar when I was 6 years old, and I have like 18 guitars now. It's kind of nuts, but
I'm jealous. So I'm a big musician too. I'm in a big band. With a band, we played it like Barefoot last year.
Wait, what? Barefoot in Wildwood?
In Wildwood, not on like the main stage or anything, but a side stage.
Dude, I go there every year. I've been there every single year. I'm down there.
If we happen to be there again, his name's Chris Rafter is the name of the band. So I'm a big musician. I want to get a nice guitar. I'm a piano player. But I've messed around on guitar. I want to get something nice. I want to get a Martin guitar.
So Martins are very similar to what my dad built. My dad builds flat top acoustic guitars. It's definitely his niche.
Okay.
He uses really custom exotic woods, and actually a lot of people that use them are country stars. So that's kind of where he got his start. Like George Strait is probably his biggest endorser.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
Pretty cool. So we used to actually go to Nashville all the time growing up. It was actually kind of crazy that I would go down there. I'd play guitar with like Alabama and all these places, all these like big country stars. But I was just a kid. It just seemed normal. We'd be backstage at the Opry hanging out with all these people. But yeah, so I mean, interesting. Definitely interesting and different way to grow up. But,
for sure.
But yeah.
What was the brand of guitar?
They're called Foley guitars.
Foley? Okay. Yep. Wow. Awesome.
He has like a steer skull is what he kind of started with. It was his logo, but it's kind of evolved over the years. Now he just puts a Foley engraved in there.
Okay.
But he actually, so we actually grew up in North Jersey, which was not too far from Nazareth, PA, which is where Martin's made. So when he first started making guitars, he would go there and do the tour, and they would walk around the tour, see all the different like people putting the guitars together. And afterwards, they were like, "Hey, here's a kit. If you want to build a guitar, put it together." And he did. And then someone wanted to buy it. And then he bought another one, and someone wanted to buy it, and launched into his guitars. He's probably in the 400s or so serial numbers now.
Jeez. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, I have grown up, the years that we were born. Well, I have two brothers, I should say. And the years we were born, my dad made a guitar for us. I was born in 1980. I know it sounds super old to you guys. But so mine was serial number 80. Ironically enough, he was coming out of the attic is where he did all the lacquering and stuff, and dropped it and fell and smashed the thing. So he ended up making me another one, but he did fix it. And that guitar is actually with the lady that runs the CMA Awards right now.
No
the number
way.
80. Yeah. So he ended up making me a different one. And then about 2 years ago, I commissioned him to make me another one because the guitar that I have now is very plain looking. It's just like herringbone. It is Brazilian rosewood, so it's a very, very nice guitar, but it's very plain. And he's known for like big abalone, blown out, like really, really fancy guitars. So I was like, I want him to make me one of those kind of guitars. And it's based on a J200, so like a big body Gibson guitar, abalone everywhere, tree of life abalone. It's a wild guitar. And actually the serial number, what I wanted to do is I was like, hey, instead of just getting a regular serial number, like, in order, I was like, I want you to do 31400, which is the tail number to my airplane.
Wow.
So if you look inside the guitar, that's the serial number in the guitar. So, I mean,
awesome.
it's kind of cool. I like to tie a lot of things together in my life.
Absolutely.
So.
That's sick.
That's cool. So you moved from New Jersey to here. What were you doing when you first got here, career-wise?
I was working for AT&T.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to work in the retail stores at AT&T. I was a sales rep. You walked in, you grabbed your cell phone. I was one of the guys that helped you out with it. So
okay.
Eventually, I moved up from being like a sales rep into assistant manager, store manager. And actually, this is a great story here. My current business partner, Mike Labragi, was one of my small business guys. So I was the store manager, and they would pair up small business guys with a store manager. So when people came in, they had businesses, we would be able to send the lead over to the small biz guys. So we worked together for, I don't know, probably a year or two, became really, really good friends, closed a lot of business together. And then one day he came in, he's like, I'm getting promoted. I'm going up to the next level in business sales. I'm like, it's terrible, man. Like, we work so well together. He's no. He's like, because you're going to take my spot. I'm like, I ain't doing that, man. Like, no way. I was like one of the top managers. I was winning all the trips, and I was like, I can't do that. I got a family. I got to support. And then he's like, well, this is how much I made last year. I'm like, you're really good at it. So, I mean, I wouldn't be as good as you. And he goes, all right, well, here's the worst person on the team, and this is what they made. More than I was making as like the best manager in Philly. So I was like, all right, I can do it. So that's what started me into the business sales on AT&T.
Okay. Wow.
And I mean, flash forward, I started in small biz and kind of worked my way up all the way to like global sales. So I had like 5 of the largest AT&T accounts, all local around here. And then we were joking around about the company like I have. I should actually back up and explain what Tellemica is and what it does. We work with businesses to help support primarily cell phones, but really any kind of telecom services that they have. So primarily AT&T. AT&T is our largest vendor, but we are agnostic. So, if they need Verizon or T-Mobile, we can typically support that as well.
All right, so rewinding a little bit before you get deeper into the business. So, did you go to college out of high school? What was that experience like as a young man?
Yeah, so I did not do well in school. I just struggled because I didn't find interest in it. So, I graduated high school, but I did have some community college, and I just had a hard time sitting there in class and just paying attention what they would tell me. I had no interest in it. So I don't read well either. I am not clinically diagnosed with it, but I definitely have dyslexia, 100%. I mean, it's not even like a thing to say. But, I feel like it's actually kind of helped me because I have to kind of look at things a little differently. If I have to read through a big long paragraph, it'll take me forever. But I can really soak it in. I've just blocked some stuff out, read through it, understand it. And it is what it is. But I feel like it's helped me because I don't lean on that as like a crutch, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So no college whatsoever?
Yeah, just some.
Okay.
A little bit of
Like you
community
said.
college, but
Okay.
but yeah, I never finished.
Okay.
Actually, I was going to school for telecommunications, and then I ended up getting a job at Verizon, and I was making pretty good money at Verizon, and I was like, why am I even doing this? Because the job that I was going to go out and get afterwards was like, going out and fixing all telephone poles and things like that, and the amount that I was making at that point was more than what I would have been making if I would have kept going there. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go and let's just go work at Verizon.
Yeah.
From Verizon went to AT&T and so on and so forth.
Awesome. All right, so you were working at AT&T. You were one of the top performers, and how long were you there for as like a store manager?
Well, so overall, I was at AT&T for like 16 years. But it's like that's chopped up between sales rep, assistant manager, store manager, and then the business side. Moved into the business side, yeah.
When you first got into AT&T, did you have any aspirations on starting your own company, or was that not even a thought in your head?
I would say that was never a thought in my mind.
Yeah.
Even while I worked at AT&T, it was never a thought in my mind. The thought came to me when we were in small business together. We briefly talked about my business partner Mike and how I met him working at the store, but I had worked with very large accounts, so I had about like 5 of the largest accounts at AT&T, and the companies like mine weren't really allowed into that segment. They were more in like the mid-market segment. And they started to open up the channel to allow people to work with the larger accounts. And we started working with a couple of them. And I honestly wasn't impressed with them. I was like, I can do this job better. And then I was joking around with my business partner, Mike. And I'm like, wow, man, I was like, these guys aren't really that great. Like, why am I working with them? He's like, oh, I'll introduce you to the really good ones. He did. He set me up with a couple of them. And then, a couple months later, I'm talking to him like, dude, these guys, we can do this better. Like, we can do this better because these guys aren't responsive. There's just different things that I saw that I was like, it's a huge gap. And we started joking around about it, but then the jokes kind of were like, whoa, actually, I'm kind of serious about this. If you're serious about this. And we ended up putting in our resignations and starting the company. That was back in 2018. And flash forward today, we're like their 6th largest partner, which is still mind blowing to me. I still can't believe it's like pinch me,
For sure.
But
How was it starting that? I mean, you had to be pretty nervous. Like, did you leave work right away? Did you quit your job? And
I would say that I've said it before and I'll say it again. Leaving AT&T was the scariest day of my life. Because it was a job that I was making really good money. I was super well liked. I knew how to do everything. I had people all over the country calling me to fix issues that they would run into because I just got that reputation. And to leave that job, that security, it was so scary,
Yeah, for sure.
I think Marshall has something to say.
Yeah, you talking to this? Speak.
This is my life, by the way. This is him. He's constantly just getting his way into things.
That's awesome. So the things you saw that were lacking with AT&T, like poor customer support, like overpaying, like what were the things that you really wanted to focus on when founding?
So
Tellemica?
it was never about money and making money. It was always about the support. So a good example would be I was an account lead for, like I said before, some of AT&T's like largest accounts. And then every year I would have some member of my team would get cut or get merged into another spot. So within telecom, you've got kind of like 2 sides, I'll call it. You have like a mobile side, which is your cell phones, your tablets. Then you have another side where it's like more your telecom services, like your fiber or your office phones, it's called like UCAS. So I would have a mobile guy and a mobile account team, a mobile account manager. Yeah. He wants to be pet right now. That's what it is. And then I would have a wired account manager. And eventually they would say, hey, you don't need those 2 guys. We'll split that up and we'll merge those into one guy. So every year, at the end of the year, it would be like in December and I would have someone from my team get cut. And every year it was happening. Another person get cut. So I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, like in 15 years, am I going to be like the last person here with like a pitchfork fighting off my customers, like just trying to support everyone myself? Or can I take 15 years to build a company that supports people the way that AT&T, or I shouldn't just put them out there, but the way that the carriers used to support their clients with all that support. And that's what we've built. We've got full ticketing support. We've got, call centers. We're about 22 people deep right now and
Okay.
growing. We have a couple offers out to other people too. And it's just, dude, it's so fun, man. I can't tell you how fun it is going to work and building a company. I don't feel like it's work, man. I feel like I get to go and I get to hang out with like my best friends.
That's
awesome.
great.
And he does come to work with me a lot. So he wants to play. You guys can see it already. He's like, this is my time. This is my time I get to play. This is my life. He knows it. He knows it.
So what's a day at?
Now he's, that's
There you
what
go.
he say.
Yeah, he's fired up now.
What's a day in Tellemica look like for you?
So yeah, it's so much different now than what it used to be. I'm less customer facing now. It's a lot more interfacing with the vendors and dealing with escalations from customers or reps or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, every day is different, man. It really is. It's I have to go this week. We're going for leadership meetings up in Bedminster, New Jersey, for to meet up with a bunch of leadership there and a lot of their management. So every day is different. I'll put it that way. But between just running the day-to-day stuff, between assisting customers, we had a client who had an internet outage today. We had to go in and jump in and escalate. So it's just putting out fires all day long.
Yeah.
Everything and anything that you can think of, good stuff, bad stuff, but it doesn't feel like work, man. It really doesn't. That's the best part about it. You know, it is work. I was working this whole weekend, but I didn't care. I'm implementing systems and constantly trying to improve different things,
Right.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love trying to solve problems and trying to make them better and make them easier for everyone.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. And to rewind a little bit, how old were you when you officially launched the business?
Oh man, you make me do math, huh? So it would have been about what, 7 years ago? So 38, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm 45 now. I
Do you
know,
have
it sounds
kids?
like ancient. I do. I have 2 boys,
Okay.
19 and almost 18. He's 17 now.
Okay.
but
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good ages. Fun
Yeah.
ages.
Are they going to school?
So my oldest, Anthony, just graduated high school, Downtown West.
Okay. Nice.
And he's actually working for me. He's been a
Okay.
huge help, man.
Nice.
He is he's been amazing. He came in and I've been teaching him a lot of the things that I would do day to day with my clients. It's really given me a lot of time to focus on the business instead of a lot of day to day stuff with the clients, looking up different reports and whatnot. I can have him pull reports so I don't have to take the time to pull reports. All the little things that would just take time, that I can just focus on different things.
For sure.
You can definitely see this is his time. He knows he wants to run around. He wants to play.
As a father, what's your take on college? Because you hear a lot of debate right now on it. Is it worth it? Is college worth it? Which I think is a horrible question. But what's your take on that?
I think that for the right person and the right career, 100% is worth it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, yeah, you've got to go to college. I think there's a lot of people out there like myself that I was so bad in school, so bad. And again, I don't want to be a horrible student. I had a hard time focusing and sit in one place.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. And I wasn't always. And still, I'm not really big on medication, so I didn't want to medicate myself to be a zombie to sit there and try and focus. That's not something that I wanted to do for myself. So I think for the right person, I think it's good. I don't think it's for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. If one of your sons came up to you, sorry, you want to finish?
No. I was just saying. I mean, and it's definitely, you have to know yourself. You have to know are you a disciplined person that you want to do it? Great. If not, oh, dude, you were really biting the shit out of my hand, dude. Hey, Marsh, here, we're going to chill. Marshall, down. All right, cool.
There you go.
Now he's going to be good.
For someone in a rut, like if your son were to come up to you and say, hey, Dad, I don't know what I want to do in my life. I don't know whether or not I want to go to college, work in trades. I don't know if I want to pursue a degree. What would your advice be to them if they're kind of in that life rut of not knowing what to do?
Yeah, I would be fine either way. I'm super glad that my sons want to come and work in my company. If they didn't want to, it wouldn't hurt me. Like I said, my dad has a guitar company. I wanted nothing to do with it. Building guitars is way too slow paced for me. I couldn't do it. But if they wanted to go a different direction, I would support it. So my 2 kids, they probably hate me talking about them right now. But my oldest is actually a super talented singer. He did a lot of plays and acting and things like that. But he didn't really want to go that direction after high school. And I would have supported it if he wanted to go that way and he wanted to do plays. But I think he has aspirations that he'll eventually will come in and maybe even take over the company.
Yeah.
And he's kind of starting at the bottom ground floor, if you will, learning the basic of how to process orders, and he's doing a phenomenal job. I have him working a little bit more back office stuff, so he gets more comfortable. He could learn the processes, and eventually he'll transition into sales and operations of the company, things like that. But yeah, if he came and said, yeah, you know what, Dad, I want to get back into singing, and pursue that, I would support it.
Yeah,
for sure. It's funny how you mentioned, like, you were saying, like, if you want to be disciplined and go to college, I almost look at it as like the complete opposite, where it's like, I talk about all the time, like, I'm a first year college student right now. I go to Westchester because it's free because my mom works there. So it was hard to pass that up. And I didn't want to leave what I have here right now, like all the connections I have here. So that's why I'm going to college right now. Main reason, it's free. I don't have to pay anything. But it's like, I look at it as almost as like kids just go to college and it's like they sign up for their classes and they get to do their classes, and it's like then they can go party and do whatever. Where it's like, if you're growing a business or doing something outside, it's like I feel like you have to be way more disciplined to not go to college if you want to pursue something that you care about, obviously. But
good take.
I could definitely see that. At least for me, when I think I have a really high standard for things and really high discipline. And I think of like, hey, when I go to school, if I do anything, I'm in like 110%. There's no like just me just kind of dabbling a little bit. It's I'm all in or I'm all out. That's the way I am. And it's not just with like one little thing. So when I think about going to school, I think about like, all right, I'm doing this. Like this is what I'm doing.
I like that.
And it's like all in.
It's great.
Did you ever have like external pressures or obvious? I'm sure you had people doubting you. Did that ever affect you?
I actually don't really. I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I know there's a lot of other people's opinions, but I don't let it bother me because I know what's right in my mind, and I don't let a lot of the other negative things kind of come in. Dude, I drive a Cybertruck, man. You've got to have some thick skin. When you drive that freaking thing. And again, it's nothing about, the politics about what that car represents now. Dude, I bought that car, or I should say I put my deposit down on that car back in 2019 when it was announced. And I just thought it looked different, man. I'm a huge car guy, man. I was like, you know what? That's different. Like, I think that'd be cool. Like, you see that thing, it's like polarizing.
Yeah.
And talking 2019, there was no tied to any kind of politics or anything like that, man. I hate politics, dude. I really do. I don't even pay any attention to it. Like I said, dude, if I'm into something, I'm into something. If I'm not, bro, it's pushed so far to the side.
Yeah.
But driving that truck, dude, it is crazy,
It's
bro.
funny.
You just drive around, people give you the finger, and I'm like, dude, I'm not even that guy, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so yeah, I get it. But driving around that thing, dude, you have to have some thick skin, and you can't really have people's opinions come in.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, when I first started that company, there were some people that were like, dude, like, are you serious? Like, I mean, I'm not going to get into what I made at AT&T, but it was very, very good money. It was a very comfortable living. I could have easily just coasted the rest of my career because I was pretty young to have a position like that. Most people that were in that position were in their 50s, and I was in my late 30s, so it was definitely, I was on the track to keep going, but I knew in my heart of hearts that starting the company and doing everything that I've done was the right direction for me.
For sure. Dude, I drove a Cybertruck around all summer because I filmed for. Do you know Chase Gallagher? He was at a car. He was at like a car event or two.
So I know him just from being in the circles, but like I've never like hung out with him, so I wouldn't be like, hey, we're boys.
Yeah.
But definitely like I think he's cool. I've definitely met him a couple times at some of the car events, but and I actually see him. I shouldn't say see him, but I see him post at the Armory.
Yeah.
And I'm actually I'm like this close to getting a membership there because I am a member of like a private club, but it's like outdoor range, and
I was there with him last week. We did cigars at the Armory, and it was cool.
So well, that's what's selling me on it, dude, because two of my buddies are members there, and we went up there, we went shooting, and then he's like, hey, let's go grab like a old fashioned. We'll have a cigar and
Yeah.
go in that back room.
Yeah.
And it's so cool.
It's a
man.
different
It's
world.
like
You'd never
it's
think you're in a
awesome,
shooting
dude.
range.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. But
So-
anyway, I just drove around his this past summer because I did his YouTube. So I'd work with him like once or twice a week. And like I just drive around while he'd like be answering calls or whatever. I just made it easier for him. So I drove it around and like, dude, yeah, you get like some people just like cutting you off just for no reason. It would be funny. Dude, I liked it's cool. Yeah, they're cool cars. It takes a lot getting used to. From what I have my freaking Boxster up there, and it's like it would be a sigh of relief at the end of every day when I would just get to go back in my Boxster. Like it was just a lot. Like the regenerative braking is weird at first. Like it's a big truck, the rear wheel steer. Like it just took a lot, but it's a cool car.
You know what though? When you get used to driving it, it makes other cars feel like dated. It
Yeah,
really
I'm
does.
sure, yeah.
And I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm a huge car fanatic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've been into cars my entire life. As far back as I can remember, I've been obsessed with cars.
Right.
And this thing is just so unique.
Okay.
Like that 4-wheel steering, you can turn that thing with a sharper turning radius than you can like a regular sports car, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Take off the headphones. Yeah, I hear you.
All right, Marsh, come on over here.
Get down.
Hey, Marshall, come on. Marshall, down. Hey.
Yeah, dude,
Down.
the turning radius is absolutely crazy on it for how big it is and how much it weighs. Do you have the Cyber Beast? Is that the Tri?
No. So
Okay.
so I initially put in for the Cyber Beast, and then what happened was back in 2019, they had the announcement, and then it was like $100 to put your like thing in for it. So I was like, sure, bet, done. And then when your ticket comes up, in the order you put it in, they actually started launching them out. I put mine in. That Elon did the announcement. I put the $100 in. So I was super early on. And when they came up, usually what happens with Teslas is they start with like the highest model, and then they'll kind of bring it down to the normal ones. But this one, they actually did it with the dual motor first. So when it came time for me to get mine, if I picked the Beast, I wouldn't have got it until October of, what was it, 2 years ago, I guess, at this point. So I would end up going with the dual motor so I could get it within like a month.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that. So getting into cars, were you like a car kid as a kid? I mean,
Bro,
car
obsessed.
lover? Okay.
Obsessed, man. You know,
what were you into?
Everything and anything.
Okay.
I mean, obviously growing up, I had like the Lamborghinis, the Ferrari posters on the wall. You know, that was like the epitome. And never in a million years would I ever dreamed that I would actually own one.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the crazy part about this, dude. That was a wild day, man. Like I might as well just get into that because one of my vendors that we sell telecom services, they invited us to go to one of those like supercar racing events. It was down in the New Jersey motorway.
Right.
And I got a Ferrari. You pick from whatever car you wanted. And I happened to drive, it was the 458, you know, it was killer car. Now I was like way fatter. I barely fit in the thing, but it was cool. And I got done driving it and I was driving home and I'm like, dude, you know, how much would it really be to get a supercar? I mean, the company's doing okay, you know, like maybe I should look into it. And I started going down the path of like actually looking into what these cars cost. And I knew I wasn't going to get the Ferrari. I love the Ferrari, but man, I was too fat to fit in that thing. So I was really had my eyes on a McLaren. And in hindsight, I'm kind of glad I didn't get that one. It was a MP12C. I didn't really know the problems that they had. But I was going for that one, ended up selling, and the dealership was like, hey, we've got this Performante, which I actually had no idea what it was at the time. But he's like, you're really into carbon fiber, so you might like this Performante, and showed me this thing. And I was like, yeah, that'll do. Like, it was a dealership in Southern California. Okay. So I had to have the thing shipped here. And I remember when that truck pulled up, lifted it up, and the thing freaking started, dude, I fucking cried, man.
Really?
Because it was like, I was like, oh my God, man. Like, I had these things on my wall as pictures, and you tell yourself, like, man, if I win the lottery, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And like, you really have no real path to think that you're going to buy one of these things. And just to think like, oh my God, man, I started this company and here I have my fucking Lamborghini backing off it was like a rush of emotions, dude.
Yeah,
I can't describe like how that felt that day, man. It was so fucking cool.
I love that. I love that.
It was awesome, man.
So what you currently have so it's a Gallardo Performante, right? And then the i8, the Chevelle, the Cybertruck. You said RS5.
RS5 too.
What else you
There's
got?
a Jeep. We have a Wrangler.
There you go.
I might be forgetting other shit too, but a couple motorcycles.
Nice.
I have an airplane, and I just bought
There you
another
go.
airplane. I haven't
Really?
talked about it yet, but I did just buy a
Can we
second
talk
airplane.
about that here?
Yeah, so we're I'm redoing the panel right now. Maybe I don't want to mention what it is yet,
Okay.
but we're redoing the panel, and I'm doing the interior. Gonna make it really nice, kind of like what I did with mine.
Okay.
It's aerobatic, so it's definitely
Ooh.
something I've been kind of wanting to get into, a little bit more aerobatic flying. But yeah, it might take about 2 months or so because we haven't completely figured out the exact panel I want to go with. But yeah, I
I'll be
literally
excited.
I just pulled the trigger in December, so I haven't mentioned anything yet. So we may
Okay.
keep it a secret,
Alright,
but
alright.
you'll see it in the next couple of months here.
For
I'm
sure.
sure.
Real quick, when you got that car, it was the Lambo, right? The first car. Was
Yep,
getting that car? Was that like I made it? Like this is success, or did that
Yeah.
come later or prior to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the company was starting to do pretty well, and I had a little bit of disposable income at the time. I was like, I figured, you know what, let me treat myself, man. I hadn't bought anything like that before ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a kind of a wild thing to do, and I paid for it in cash too when I bought it. So it was like kind of like it's one of the things I've always been super careful never to extend myself too far. When I buy something like that, I wait until I have money to buy it, and then I buy it. Same deal with like watches and things like that. I don't want to ever take something and finance it, and then like I always think like, what if we have a big turn down the company, and what if this, what if that, and I mean, it doesn't happen, but I always keep that in the back of my mind, like, because there were times when we were younger, man. We definitely had some times where we struggled. I took promotions at work, like when I was at AT&T, it was supposed to be a promotion, but the commission plan wasn't completely right, so we struggled a little bit, and I always remember those times of like, man, I never want to feel like I'm like struggling to make a payment or anything like that. Right. So I'm always careful myself that if I want to buy something like that, I wait until I have the money, and then I just pay for it. Yeah,
Absolutely. So you get these cars. How'd you get into aviation?
Yeah, so that's a great story too. So I've been into jiu-jitsu for I started in 2016. I've been a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
What belt are you?
Well, that's a debatable subject. I'm a blue belt technically.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. So I started in 2016. I earned my blue belt in 2018. And then trained up to COVID. And then when COVID came, you got to remember, this is like when COVID first started. It's not like COVID today.
Yeah.
People were like wiping their groceries down before they brought it in their house kind of COVID, So the whole thought process of like rolling around on the ground with people face to face, I was like, I got to find a new hobby, man. I can't be doing this shit. So I have a place down in Wildwood, a second house. And we were down there. I see the planes flying on the banner, and the banner planes flying around. And I'm like, dude, there must be an airport around here somewhere. Saw there was one in Cape May, and then I got this idea. I'm like, maybe instead of driving 4 hours to get down here on a Friday night, maybe I could just learn how to fly a plane and just fly a plane back and forth. These crazy thoughts that you have in your head. And then, so I started calling around the flight schools, and I ended up meeting the flight school up at Chester County, talked to them about it. And initially they sold me on the idea of like, yeah, you can just rent a plane and take it down, and you only pay for it while you fly it. And it sounded great until you actually start flying. You realize, oh, that would be a jerk thing to do, to take a plane and just have it sitting down there when they've got like students and other people that want to fly it. So that's what led me down the path of buying my own plane. But yeah, the thought of being able to fly back and forth, to the shore, or my parents live upstate New York, so I can fly up to upstate to see them. It's not a 7-hour car drive.
Yeah.
It's that's what kind of got me into the idea. When I first started, I didn't have any idea how much work it would actually be. Like, the school side of it, learning all of that piece of it, that was, the regulations was a little tough. The part I struggled most with, there was two things I struggled most with. The first one was weather, because again, I didn't give a shit about it. Looking back now, I know it's super important, but like that whole, why is there fog? Okay,
Right.
cool. Well, there's fog because the dew point and the temperature meet. So if you're coming into an airport and you hear that your dew point, your temperature, you're going to be landing in some fog. Like little things like that. Those are like things that come up that you just don't. At the time, I was like, whatever, it's weather, But now I know, I'm like, yeah, it was definitely an area that I really, really had to focus in on. So I ended up buying some extra courses on weather, and I'm like basically a freaking meteorologist at this point.
Yeah.
I can almost tell like just just by, the fronts and what's coming in, I'm like, oh, there's going to be something coming in. I can just read the weather and know that stuff's going to be changing.
Yeah.
So, and I think are you a pilot too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you get it now. Like now you see this weather, you're looking a couple days out. You're never looking at like, what's the weather on an iPhone? You're
Right.
looking at like dew point, barometer, what's happening. The barometer's rising, barometer's dropping,
Right.
and you can kind of predict what's going to happen over the next couple of days. Cause when you're doing a trip, you're not thinking like, all right, the weather's great right now. You're thinking weather's great right now, but when I'm coming back, what's the weather going to be
Exactly.
like, and those are the things you have to think about as a pilot.
Absolutely. So do you have, what ratings do you have right now?
I'm just regular VFR pilot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
I do want to go and get my IFR, but it's just the time commitment thing for me right now. I am so fortunate. The company is just blowing up and I just don't have the time to put into it right now. So I have to really focus a lot more time into the company and the growth of the company, but I will eventually go back. I don't have any aspirations to get my commercial.
Yeah.
But I do want my IFR though. It's just something I kind of feel like I need.
It frees you up a little bit too, I'm sure.
Yep.
You said you just got a somewhat of a aerobatic plane. Do you have to have like a certain rating or something for that?
Nope. No,
Okay.
I mean, I've been doing some training already. But I will definitely do a little bit more training before I'm just going up there and ripping barrel rolls and Q&8s and all that stuff. But
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's what it is. It's I find most of the time that I'm flying, well, before Marshall, most of the time I was flying just by myself. I don't have a lot of friends that like flying, so
Really?
I would just go up there and just fly to airport by myself. And that's actually been one of the great things about having Marshall, just because now I have like a flying buddy.
That's
it's like
awesome.
it's like a reason to go up there and fly a little bit more now. But I absolutely love it though. I mean, there are times you take off and you're just thinking, holy cow, man, like this is awesome. I can just get in a plane and fly whenever I want. And it hits you sometimes. Like you just realize reality hits you and you're like, dude, I'm literally in the air just flying, like peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Like my brain is shut off. And that's one of the things that I enjoy most about all the hobbies that I do, but aviation is one of them. When I'm flying that plane, I don't think about anything else going on. I don't think about this customer needs a disconnect request put in. This needs this done. This, I have to get back to this one. I have to do a comp dispute. This, none of that stuff is going on in my brain.
Yeah.
Take off and it's like, fly the plane.
Absolutely.
sure.
I think
That's it.
jiu-jitsu's the same exact way. As soon as you get on the mat, start
Dude,
rolling with people.
Same thing. Do you wrestle or you jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu.
You do?
Just
Okay.
started we're going to get along
Oh
great.
my God, bro. We got to roll then.
Yeah, I got 3 stripes on my white belt, so watch out. Just got the 3rd
Oh,
stripe.
where you train?
Precision in King of Prussia.
Oh, that's a great gym.
It's a great gym.
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
Precision. They got some killers there.
So I've been into jiu-jitsu for a long time, and they have these like professional jiu-jitsu matches that go on down in Philly. It's over by like say like 1330 or something. It's by that cheesesteak place, Tony Luke's.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of around the corner there. And those guys from Precision are legit, man. They're very good. I started at Paramount Jiu-Jitsu, which
That's
is
where I started.
right here.
Yeah.
And then I trained there. I've got my blue belt there. Trained there up until COVID. And after I stopped training jiu-jitsu, man, I got fat, bro.
Yeah.
Really fat, man. I buried myself in work. I didn't work out. It was COVID, and of course, you joke around about putting on the COVID-15, and then came COVID-20, and then COVID-50, and I got myself up to like 275 pounds, and then I was like, I gotta stop, man. There was actually to jump around a little bit. I actually, when you get your pilot license or your certificate, I should say, every 2 years you have to go and get checked out. Well, I have to get checked out because I'm over 40. You're every 5 years because you're under 40. You have to get checked out by an aviation doctor. And one of my exams was not good. And they noticed some things in my kidneys, and they're like, you got to go get that checked out. And flash forward, they were like, dude, you're in like early stages of kidney failure. And I'm like, what? Like, I feel great. Meanwhile, I'll say I feel great. Walking up and down the stairs, I'm like huffing and puffing, but I feel great. And I still didn't believe it. And I was on my phone with my mom, and I'm like, yo, like this guy's telling me I'm in kidney failure. She's like, well, your grandfather died of 52, and I was 42 at the time, 52 of a kidney transplant. Now, granted, it was 1950s and whatever the hell it was, but like it was still enough that I was like, wow, that's like 10 years, man. Like, what am I doing? Like,
Right.
I fly planes, I race cars, like I do all this cool shit, and it could end in 10 years. And that was the moment I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta change what I'm doing. And I actually first started by cutting out beer. That was the first thing I did.
Really?
I had no, if I could have like looked at, if I can go back and talk to myself at that point and be like, dude, you'd be fucking shredded at like 165. Like I would be like, there's no way. Like even when you're like 275, even say I was 200, I would have thought like that would have been crazy to be under 200 pounds. But you know, as you go down and you kind of really start honing in and learn about nutrition and working out and all the different things that I did, like you kind of realize all of that stuff can just build on. And it's that constant improvement.
Absolutely.
You know, and jiu-jitsu was one of the things that I feel like always kept me in good shape. Well, I should say fit-ish shape.
Yeah.
Because I would probably, realistically, even when I was at Paramount, I was like 215, 220, you know, and to me, I thought that was like, okay, because I could eat whatever I wanted. I could go out and drink or whatever. And I was fine with that. But, you know, 275, that was a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So I first, getting back to that now, I started cutting out beer. And then I started, I actually followed this guy, Gary Brecka, online. He had this thing of like 30, 30, 30. So you get up within 30 minutes, you have 30 grams of protein, followed by 30 minutes on a treadmill, on an incline. And I went from like 275 to 240 doing that. Like literally,
Really?
that's yeah. And I was like, by the time I hit 240, I was like, you know what, man, I really miss jiu-jitsu. I should look at going back to jiu-jitsu because I loved it. And I did look at Paramount, but the schedule at Paramount, by the way, it's a great school. I'm not saying anything bad about that school. And but the schedule was a little all over the place for my schedule, how I work and when I work and the days that I train. I prefer to train in the gi. I'm not a big no-gi guy.
Me too.
I know it's a little bit more traditional and less realistic, especially with as much MMA stuff that's going on. But I like that. You know, I'm not doing it to compete. It's just that's what I enjoy doing. So there was a new school that opened up in Thorndale, SAS. So I went there. I did a couple classes and I was like back into it, hook, line, and sinker. And you know, it's funny. You go to a new school. And have you trained other schools other than the two of them?
Been to Paramount, Alliance, and Precision, and then a couple gyms down in school in Florida.
So when you go to another gym, especially as a blue belt, you know, you always wonder, you're like, oh, is my blue belt gonna hold up? You know, I travel a lot for work, and in California, I was down in California, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to this gym, man. I want to go in my blue belt, like, and I did, and blue belt holds up, man. Like you know, and. So, I mean, I've been a blue belt since 2018, I'll call it 2018 to 2020. And then I've been back for 2 years training.
Nice.
So this system, they do want you to test and,
at the SAS school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And awesome school. God, the guys are so great there, man. I love training there. And I'm not a person that's chasing belts, chasing promotions. I just go there because I enjoy it. I don't compete, you know, I'm proficient, you know, but I have no desire. I'm not going there to get a purple belt or a black belt at some point, you know. I just like to train. That's my thing. So they want me to test, and I keep saying no. So I'm gonna have a blue belt for a very long time because I don't want to test. So it's the running joke. Everyone there is like, bro, are you serious? You're not testing me? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to test. No.
Do you have to have the 4 stripes on the blue belt in order to test for your purple?
In this school, yeah. So at my old school, you know, when you were ready, you know, the coach, professor would promote you. In this school, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm like, oh, man. So, like, I'm going to do a test, and then I'll get 1 stripe, then I'll get another stripe. Right. So it's going to be like 4 years. It'll be another 2 years before I'm even eligible. At that point, I'll be a blue belt for 6 years? I'm like, dude, I don't care about the belts. My belt, it's actually fun. You see my belt is shredding apart. It is literally falling apart. It's actually if there's a day that I have to give up that belt, I actually might cry because that thing is it's so cool. It's so like torn and shredded and so worn in. Yeah. It's a cool belt
behind those things.
Yeah. It really is.
How did the fitness thing and business correlate? Did they correlate at all? Like as you got healthier, in this business?
Yeah, it's actually. So I analyzed things like probably to the max, and it was around that time that I was 275, and talked to my doctor and they wanted to put me on all sorts of medicine. I'm like, no, look, let me try and get this under control here. And then I was out at a customer, one of our clients today out in Pittsburgh. And I had to do this presentation. I remember I actually have this picture on my phone. Every time I see it, it reminds me. I got done doing this presentation and I like had to buy a new suit jacket. And I just felt so awkward and fat and uncomfortable doing the meeting. And like after that meeting wrapped up, I was telling myself, I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm like working these accounts and like, I mean, these are big accounts. And like, what am I subliminally saying by like being overweight and not like looking like I can take care of myself, you know, like what kind of message is that putting out there? I'm like, dude, I need to get better shape so I can feel better, so I can look better. And it's like, there's something that can be said when you walk into a room now, and I can say that now, like when I walk into a room and I see someone who's like physically fit, I know what it takes to get to that,
Absolutely.
you know, and especially physically fit when you're over 40, because you guys are pretty young now. It's actually pretty easy for you guys now. But when flash forward another 20 years and you guys are still rocking abs, I'll be like, yo, respect, man, because I know what it takes, man. It's eating the right way. It's exercising. It's taking care of your body. Even when you don't feel like it, even on the weekends, you got to still like lock in a little bit and say, all right, you know what? Like if I want to have some like, I don't know, some donuts or whatever, I can do it, but I've got to fit it within my plan. You know, I got to,
absolutely.
you know,
Do you supplement at all or,
protein, but other than protein, I don't really do like the creatine thing or anything like that. I did try it because a lot of people were like, oh, it'll make you stronger. I felt like it made me bloated. Yeah. I felt like I didn't have the look that I wanted. I was losing definition. To me, I do get on the scale, but the scale, there's a point when you are like, I'll call it sub 13% body fat, that like the scale doesn't really mean as much. You know, you can put on the weight, but you could put on the muscle, but you're losing the weight and it's not really changing. So you have to switch over from the scale to like measurements, you know, body measurements. And that's kind of how you start to track your progress. There is a point. And by the way, I had never expected to take it as far as I did, but unfortunately, like I said earlier in this podcast, bro, I'm all in or I'm all out. Yeah. And the nutrition thing was the piece that if I could have went back and talked to my 275 pound self, that's the thing that I kind of wish I knew sooner. I kind of fell into it from jiu-jitsu. I was probably around in my weight loss journey. I think I got down to around like 210 at the time. And I tore my meniscus in this knee. And I was in the mind frame that like, all right, you know, it sucks here, man. I'm going to put on weight because I can't work out. Because in my mind back then, the only way to lose weight was to work out, you know, or have a very loose diet of like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to try and eat in a deficit, but I wasn't weighing anything. So if you're not weighing your food, you don't really know what you're eating. Right. So anyway, tore my meniscus. In my mind, I was like 210. I was like, all right, well, if I can come out of this injury, maybe only at like 220, I can lose the 10 pounds again and I'll go back on my journey. But while I was injured, I actually went to a friend of mine and I was talking to him about it. I'm like, dude, like he's very fit. I mean, like Greek god kind of fit. And I was like, dude, what do you do to like, you must work out like a fiend. He goes, actually, I really don't work out that much. He's like, I have my nutrition dialed in. I'm like, I eat great. He goes, candidly, he's like, I'll tell you what, you don't eat great. He's like, because if you ate great, you wouldn't look like the way you look. Like he's literally math and started like talking to me high level of these things that now I understand. At the time I didn't. So I ended up working with a nutritionist and really had kind of like learned all these things that like now I just, it's like second nature to me, but I didn't realize that. It just all clicked and like that whole concept of like 3,500 calories is equal to 1 pound. And so you can eat in a deficit. Every time you eat in a deficit, you're chipping that away to that 3,500. And literally you can map out how much weight you lose. So once all that like comes together in your head, you're like, oh man, this is why I was so fat the entire month. Like I was blasting through 4,000, 5,000 calories. Even though you're working out, you're never going to be able to keep up with like a nutrition and having a fit physique, eating that many calories. You just can't. You can't outwork that.
Absolutely.
So, flash forward, I've kind of I did not even know that this would be possible, but by getting in shape myself, like I've spawned all these other people around me that are like, oh, you got to teach me how to do this. My kids are on the same thing right now. So we talked about my oldest son being really into like singing and acting. My youngest son, football guy. So he Downingtown West varsity, he's been playing for, on varsity, I think the last 3 years. So he had to be big. He was a lineman. He was a center. So he had to be big. And then once season was over, he's like, all right, I gotta start working his way down. I think he was like up to 280, but again, not fat. He is incredibly strong. Dude will just bench press over 300, just like reps of over 300. It's insane. Nice. It's funny. Like, I'm not a weak person, but I went to the gym with him. I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm hanging with you, dude. Like, you're on another level, bro. He is so strong.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
But now he wanted to lighten up, and I'm like, all right. I was like, dude, if you want to do it, let's grow. I'll show you. And I literally went through the whole thing. He's like super locked in. He's tracking everything with his app. He's weighing all of his food, meal prepping, planning it all out. That's all you have to do. You just have to have a plan. You have to just have a plan and follow it and be disciplined with it.
For sure. Love that. Before we I think that's a great place to wrap that segment up for the fitness. Congrats.
No, thank you, bro.
But can we rewind to the plane a little bit? I know. So you got that Warrior. Did you get that shortly after you got your license? You said.
No, actually, I got that during. So it was tail end of a year, and I had thought, hey, this is a great way to write some money off, so I'll buy the plane. This was around COVID, and things were kind of hard to find around that time. It wasn't like when it first started. I think I got it around like 2021. But it was still really hard to find planes and find parts and whatnot. But we ended up finding this one up in Alaska.
Really?
And, actually, it would have been an awesome trip. If I could have taken like 2 weeks off and done that cross-country trip and fly it back, that would have been awesome. But I just didn't have the time available to me. We were pretty early on in the company still, and I needed my time here. So I ended up paying 2 pilots to fly it back for me. And then we got it here, and then, going through the plane, one thing led to the next, and some ailerons had a little crack. We had to change that. And then, hey, well, we're going to do this interior here. Since we're already in there, let's do this. And ended up doing a complete restoration on the plane. The whole idea at first was, let's just get it running and I'll fly. And this will be my plane that I build hours in. But as I started doing it, again, I can't do anything half-assed, bro. So I started doing the plane, and you guys know planes. Most planes are like kind of nasty. They're old looking. You go inside some of them, you're like, oh, is this thing even safe? Yeah. Have you ever been in my plane before? I know your dad has.
Yeah.
No, I've not.
No. Yeah. So I completely redid the interior. The seats are like two-tone, like a double stitched pattern.
Is that the black leather?
It's gray and black insert in there.
Okay.
The whole inside it's real leather too. So when you're doing it, you can do a vinyl or you can do a real leather. The problem with vinyl is, like, on a hot day, your back will sweat.
Yeah.
And the leather will kind of absorb that heat a little bit, so you don't have that sweaty back and nastiness. So
that's the one you usually post in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the one I'm thinking of, I thought it was a Cirrus for the longest time.
It's funny. A lot of times when I fly into towered fields, people will say, "All right, Cirrus, you're holding here." But I do get that a lot though. People are like, "All right, Cirrus, hold short. All right, Cirrus, you're clear."
Jeez.
And, and I'm like, I always kind of chuckle a little bit because I did model a paint job after a Cirrus.
Okay.
The paint actually is a cool story. So we have one client that is a paint company. And when I went to get painted, I told the shop, I'm like, guys, we've got to use this paint specifically when we do it. And he's like, we really don't use that. We use another brand. I said, all right, well, I'll pay extra because this is one of my clients. And it was like one of my first early on clients too. And they're still with me today. While we were closing that paint company, after we'd closed the deal and started having the paint done, I ended up closing another large paint company. And I was like, oh man, now who do I choose? I'm like, well, I obviously have to go with the company that's been with me first. Yeah. But it was pretty cool because that second paint company was we did 3,500 phones with them. It was a huge deal at the time. But I had to stay loyal to the company who was with me from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But it's neat. I will do that. When I buy my propane, I always buy the propane from my client that I've had forever.
Mm-hmm.
I always try and support people who support me.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. I love that. So, all right, I think it's time to get into Marshall. So,
Okay.
recently Marshall comes along. You said you got him 6-ish months ago.
Yeah, probably. Actually, he's about seven and a
Okay.
half months around there. Yeah.
Nice. So obviously the videos have been absolutely going crazy with him flying with you, with him in the car with you. Like, walk us through getting him and then like experimenting with the plane, how he was in it, experimenting with the car, the whole story.
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk a little bit about social media in general. So this might come to a shock to you guys, but I'm actually not like the biggest social media guy. I will tell you that it kind of started a little bit with the Cybertruck. So if I really go way back, I mainly had a Facebook, which was like my family, people I went to high school with, and like people that I knew. And I always liked Instagram, but I just didn't really have a lot of people on there. It was like 100 followers for like ever because, you know, it was Instagram. And I just barely posted on there. And then I got the plane. I had a couple videos that I posted to the plane. And some of them took off. And then I got the car and some of them took off and probably had about like 5,000 followers, which was like amazing to me. Like, I'm just like a normal guy. That was like I thought that was like awesome. And then I got the Cybertruck and I had a video. I put a 360 camera on the back of the Cybertruck. I was driving around Downingtown and there was a group of kids that was driving by. They're like, yo, that shit's ugly as fuck. And I put a clip of the thing together and the video went freaking nuts, bro. Went to the moon. It was like over 1 million views, and it was around the time that like things were getting heated politically around that, and having a Cybertruck. It was so much hate in that comment section, and I mean, I had so many DMs of people like telling me to kill myself. It was like actually a horrible thing, but the good thing was I got like 10,000 followers out of that. So I mean, as much hate and as much as I had to go through, and it was horrible, but that put me around, call it 15,000 or so followers, maybe in the 15 to 17,000 mark. Then I got Marshall, and I went from like 17 to I think we're like 77,000 and growing.
Crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. People love Marshall.
And were you a dog guy before this? Like, did you have other dogs?
I've had dogs my entire life, and the funny thing is what I didn't want Marshall. Like, we had a shepherd and we had a bulldog. The bulldog was like my dog, very similar to Marshall. Bulldog came with me everywhere, but she was like 13 years old, and it was something I always wanted to take her in that plane, man. That was like always a thing I always thought, it'd be so cool to take her in the plane because she drove with me everywhere. But I just, at the time, she was so old and like she had a hard time walking around. I was thinking that for her, she would have been uncomfortable, and I didn't want to take her in the plane there. I knew that she wouldn't have been comfortable. So the week we got Marshall, I mean, like, it was like, got Marshall, I went to a Cars and Coffee first, right after, and then like the next day I was in the airplane with him.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I was like, I gotta do that because I want him to be comfortable in the plane. So like, if we want to go to the shore, we want to go to my parents, or we just want to go anywhere, he'll be cool, and it'll just be like normal life to him. It's not gonna be anything different. It's just be like, oh, cool, we're going to the plane. So that was my whole goal. And I actually didn't film a couple of. I think I filmed my very first one. I did. And it's actually funny because I look back at that video and I didn't have like the plugins which plugged into the plane. I get good audio. It was like I did it with my phone, and it was like, hey, meet Marshall. This is Marshall's on his first plane ride, and that video did pretty good. But again, I had like 17,000 followers, so I expected it to do pretty good. Actually, I probably had about 15,000 at that time, and then 15 ended up jumping to 17 from that one. And then it was funny. It was a video that I was down in Wildwood. And I was taking off, and actually, this is actually a funny video. I actually am going to do a video about this because that video has like over 14 million views right now. And I totally screwed up in that video, and no one said anything about it. So if you know Wildwood, there's the runways are like 10, and I typically take off, if I'm up here in Chester County, I'm 29 or 11. So when I was taking off, I just slipped up and said departing runway 11. And down there, the runway was actually 10. So it's funny. I was like, I can't believe there's 14 million people have seen this shit, and no one said anything about that. So
that's crazy.
It is actually kind of funny. But that video though, I literally made it. I took off. I came back here, threw it together. It was just like another video, and it just went to the moon, man. Like, it got picked up by so many different people. So many different publications have picked it up, and that one just launched into another world, you know, into another dimension. And we have another one right now. Again, it's like 2 million views, I think, on TikTok, which is crazy because I recently started TikTok. It's my biggest platform has always been Instagram. But TikTok's definitely growing like crazy. I think we're like 26,000 followers on that.
Wow.
So that still blows me away, man. It's even crazy to see that. What the craziest thing is, just like running around in daily life and having people be like, bro, I follow you on TikTok.
Yeah.
I've had people like call me. They're like, dude, you'll never believe it. But a friend of mine was like, you got to see this guy. He's like flies with his dog and he sends me the video and it's you. And it's like, I know you. And I'm like, dude, it's still, it's crazy. It's like, it's awesome. It's super flattering, but it is kind of weird though. Like sometimes just being like recognized out from like the guy flying the plane. You know?
Yeah. Well, recently he's been getting that a ton when we go out to Westchester.
We film in Westchester every weekend, so it's like after a point, it's like we go out every weekend now. It's just people to motivate. It's just like it's funny. It's like genuinely funny. It's cool. I mean, it gives me a little bit more motivation to keep doing it another week. You know what I mean? Like
I said, man, like I've actually followed your podcast for a couple of years. We've been talking about doing this for what, 3 years, if not more than that. And it is funny because we talked about it early on, but the evolution, I think it's you found your niche. You know, like this is kind of like where you're going and where you should keep going this direction. Because like I feel like you're starting to catch some steam. You're getting some videos that have some traction, and I think that's what it's all about, is like finding that niche and then sticking to it. I never thought my niche would be flying with my dog, but apparently that's what everyone wants to see.
For sure.
I'll post a video. I'll go like off topic and I'll post a video of like I got some like tattoo work done. I'll post it, and then people are like, all right, but where's your tattoo of Marshall? And I'm like, okay, I got it. Okay. You guys want to see Marshall? Yeah. He's literally taken over my page. That was my personal Instagram page. Now Marshall's taking it over. And I don't mind, because the difference now is with Marshall, it's all positive stuff, and it's actually fun. You know, like when that Cybertruck video was going on, it was horrible, bro. I'm telling you, it was like people were just so mean, and it was like every time you turn on your phone, it'd be like the worst freaking comments you can imagine. And dude, I'm not that guy, man. Like I'm not. I politics. I don't do it. You know, I'm not that guy. I'm like, just talk to me, guys. Like I guarantee you, we'll find common ground. I'm like into a lot of pretty cool shit, man. Like chances are we'll be cool, but you know, like just God, it was so horrible. And actually, almost to the point where I almost gave up on social media because I was like, dude, this is terrible. I don't want to deal with this. So anyway, getting back to Marshall. So we had 2 dogs prior, Roxy, and we had a shepherd. Roxy was like 19. I'm sorry. Roxy was, she died when she was 13. I apologize there. And she was like the oldest bulldog in our vet's history. They're like, I can't believe this dog is still alive. She was actually on the downturn when she was about like 8, and he thought she was going to die around 8. And that's where we're like, you know what? We've got to get another dog to soften the blow. And then we got my shepherd, Sadie. And she almost outlived Sadie because, you know, she bounced back. Obviously she kept living. And then Sadie was a little bit more traumatic. She died. She was actually relatively young. I want to say she was maybe 7 or so, but she had like the ALS version of what, you know, happens to people, and like her back legs just kind of gave out. Like she would walk around and like her back legs just didn't follow. It was like Tokyo Drift, man. Like her just freaking legs just didn't work, and it got to a point like where she couldn't really walk unassisted, and like we were having to help her outside, and she had a couple accidents in the house, and it was a point where like when I got to the point where I'm carrying the back legs of the dog to go outside the bathroom, it's like
torture. What
kind of life are we doing? What are we doing for this dog? Like this is not the way I would want to live. And we had to make that decision. And it was probably around springtime, and we're like, you know what, we're done. We're not getting any more dogs. We're gonna go this summer. We'll see how things work out. We spent a lot of time at the shore. The barefoot definitely did that, and we ended up getting a cat. And the cat's been phenomenal, but it just doesn't replace what a dog does. And so we were looking around for Goldens, because I knew I wanted a friendly dog this time. So I was thinking lab, I was thinking golden retriever, and we had the shepherd, and she was a great dog, but man, she was like on at 10 all the time. Like, you know, someone would come in the house she didn't know, she was like barking, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want a dog that I can take places like a Roxy, like big dumb dog that just was there, you know. And that's what I wanted, lab, golden, something along those lines. And we got put on a couple lists, and then turns out my wife's sister knew a person who was having a litter, and we were like, all right, Let's go check them out. We weren't able to see the dogs until they were like a month old. So I don't know if that's like a law or whatever, but that was the breeder's thing. So when he was a month old, we saw the litter, and we had our eyes on a different dog to look at. And Marshall just kept coming up to us, kept like laying in our arms, like falling asleep in our arms. And I'm like, well, I mean, we were looking at the other one, but clearly he's like picked us. And we ended up moving forward and went with Marshall, and it's been amazing. He has been the best dog ever. Now, I've put a lot of time into him. Most dogs that we've had, I should say almost every dog that we've had, we've done rescues. So, you know, the dogs were a year and a half, 2 years. And we got him when he was 6 weeks old. Yeah. So like I said, we got him, picked him up. We went straight to a Cars and Coffee.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know, and obviously he didn't know how to walk on a leash, but like he was so small, I was able to pick him up and carry him. Yeah. But like I wanted him to get used to being in the car, you know? For sure. And now, like when we do like some of these supercar rallies, like the 80K rallies and whatnot, like you've been on a couple of them. They're pretty, we'll call it spirited drives. For like sure. He always loves to rest his head on my arm, and I can feel he gets to the point like where he's starting to like anticipate the corners and like leans into the corners. And I think it's so awesome. I'm like, dude, that is so cool.
That is cool.
That's awesome. So is there like a content strategy you're following with Marshall, or is it literally just like you're throwing it up and it's just gold every time?
Dude, you know what it is? It's not. There's really no strategy to it. I mean, this is literally what I do in my daily life anyway, and I would say that, like, again, I'm not like a big social media guy. I actually started posting more stuff on social media because one of the guys that works for me was like, dude, he's like, you do like the coolest things ever. He's like, you should post it more. He's like, I vicariously live through you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I never want it to be perceived like I'm bragging or I'm being like, oh, look at my airplane or look at my cars, you know, because I'm not that kind of guy. And I was always afraid that like you put that stuff out there, people would just think it was like me bragging. So eventually I got a little bit over that because, he was like, dude, you got to post it. He's like, people want to see that stuff. I want to see it. Yeah. So I did. I started posting a little bit more, and then, the Marshall stuff just went to the moon, and that was just, I still look at it. I still can't believe it. It's
Were you able to monetize that a little bit?
Yeah. So actually we were monetized before Marshall. Okay. So I mean that Cybertruck video, as much hate that I got, that thing definitely put me into a realm. I want to say, I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say maybe it was around 10,000 or so. When I hit about 10,000 followers, I think all that kind of stuff got lit up. Okay. And TikTok was the same deal, but TikTok actually happened way faster. Like the Instagram has been super slow growth up until when I had around 17,000 or so, and then it just launched. But up to 17 was a really slow, couple hundred here and there and every month. But that Cybertruck one did actually push me into another dimension where that one, I think, gave me such a base that, like, if I did post stuff, it would go kind of crazy.
Yeah. And how does that work? Does the platform reach out to you, or do you have to, did you reach out to them?
No, it was like, I got an email. It was like, hey, we want to invite you into this creator program, creator fund or whatever it was called. And then, they pay, actually, ironically enough, I just got one from Facebook the other day.
Really?
And they're like, got a X amount of dollars for you guys if you want to join this thing. I'm like, well, what the funny thing is, my Facebook is like still kind of locked down to like, because I have a lot of more of my kids and my personal my family stuff on Facebook, because like that's where my parents, they're not following me on Instagram, they don't they're not doing TikTok or any of that stuff, so a lot of that is more there. And my immediate family, my kids, my wife, super private. They don't want anything to do with any social media stuff. That's why I'm like, they're probably like, shut up, Dad, don't talk about me. Dom, my youngest son, so Anthony's the oldest, Dom is the youngest. Dom did a flight with me down to Wildwood. We have, like I mentioned, we have a place down there, but we don't go there in the winter. So what I do is I'll like shut it down. I'll have a plumber come in and blow all the pipes out. So if it does freeze and something happen, like I don't have to worry about it. Yeah. So, and then, probably March or April, I'll have the plumber come out and we'll open it up again. And we use it during the summer. We don't use it in the winter. For sure. So he came down there, helped me kind of like close it down. And there's a killer taco place down there. So,
what's it called?
Dude, I cannot remember the name of it. It's, there's no way I'm going to remember the name of it. But it used to be right around the corner from where we live, or I should say our house down there. And then they moved. They actually moved to a bigger spot, and we ended up walking down there. But yeah, it is absolutely killer. So that's literally his motivation to come down there was to go get tacos. And it wouldn't be the first time that I've like flown somewhere for tacos because it's awesome. I mean,
The
you're
$100
private.
cheeseburger or $100
Exactly.
hamburger.
That's, I mean, after you get your private, your pilot certificate, like that's like a thing you do.
Yeah,
You go around, fly into different airports, find cool things to do there, and it typically revolves around food.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Super quick, I want to get into watches. I know you're a little bit of a watch guy for sure.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
Yep.
You got a Speedmaster on right now? What is that?
This is actually a Panda Daytona. This is a Rolex. This one.
Okay.
But I do have a Speedmaster. It's an Omega. It was actually probably the most recent one that I got.
Okay.
It's funny that is I love that watch, man.
Okay.
But there's a funny story about it. So majority of my watches are automatics, automatic movements. They're mostly Rolex, and I've got like a watch winder. So when I'm not wearing it, I can throw it in there because I don't want to sit there and constantly change the time every time I want to wear it. Especially this one doesn't have a date, but majority of them have dates. I do have some that have the day and the dates too, and that's a really complicated movement to kind of set every day. So I just throw it in a winder. Well, so anyway, I got this gray side of the moon watch. I love it. It's super killer. Okay. When I wasn't wearing it, I'd throw it in the winder, and then every couple days it would like die. So I'm like, what the hell's going on with this watch? I took it up to King of Prussia. I went to the Omega store. I'm like, guys, like this is a brand new watch. It's like October 2025 is my card, man. Like it's a warranty. If there's an issue with it, I want to get it fixed now. And he's like, nah, everything looks it's going good. He's like, you're winding it, right? And I'm like, winding it. Like I was like, I stick it in my winder when I'm done. He goes, look at the movement. He's like, it's not an automatic watch. You got to wind this. So I was like, oh my God, I feel like such an idiot. Like I didn't know that because I mean, every other watch that I've had just, you just wear it and it works.
For sure.
But I'll tell you, since I have to wind it, it's a manual watch. The only watch that I have, it's a manual wind watch. I find that I wear that watch more often than any other watch that I have because you have to touch it every couple days or every day or so to wind it. Yeah. And there's something like awesome about having to touch a watch and having to wind it. And I don't know, but you just have to touch it every couple days. I'll tell you what, I would say the watch thing has been the last couple of years that I've kind of got into them.
What do you have? What's your collection?
Oh, we'd be here all night, man.
Really? Okay.
I'll tell you my very first one was it was the Rolex. It was the Sea Dweller. Okay. So I have one of my group of friends. They started talking about watches, and I'm like, yeah, I was an Apple Watch guy. I actually used the Apple Watch was a big part of my fitness journey to track everything. So I was always kind of like locked into just an Apple Watch. And now I've kind of reached a point where again I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just maintaining, and I mean honestly there ain't any more weight to lose realistically. So we started talking about watches, and my one buddy bought a Daytona. And ironically enough, because I'm wearing a Daytona now, I put it on. I'm like, dude, I don't get it. I still don't understand this draw for a watch. And call it a day. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not a watch guy. 2 or 3 days later, I go to lunch with another guy. He's got a Sea Dweller. And the Sea Dweller has this thing called a glide lock, so you can really like do micro adjustments on it. Okay. And I was like, oh, I put the thing on. I was like, this is nice. It was like a little bit of a bigger watch. It's like a 43 millimeter watch. And I put that on. I'm like, oh, I get it. Like this is the first watch I've ever put on that like speaks to me. Yeah. So that was my first watch. That was my first. I should say my first like adult, really nice watch. And then after wearing it for a couple months, the problem that I ran into it was if I wore like a suit, or not really a suit, but like a nice button down shirt for like work. When you go to wear it, it wouldn't go over because it's a dive watch, so it's like really thick. So then I quickly kind of jumped into a Submariner because it looks very similar, but it's thinner. It would go over, but it was like, it looked almost the same thing. It was like virtually the same freaking thing. So I was kind of upset. I was like, I really should have went with like, they call it a Starbucks, which is a Submariner, but it's got a green bezel on top. So I could start matching outfits and stuff. These are the things that you think about
there you go.
when you get into watches. So then I ended up buying that, and that Submariner just sat in a drawer. It was a black Submariner. It sat in a drawer until like maybe a couple months ago. When I got the idea, I saw it on eBay. There was someone selling what was called a Cookie Monster, which is a Submariner with a blue bezel. But the Cookie Monsters are all white gold. So, I mean, they're really expensive, call like $50,000 watches. Wow. And I was like, well, I like the Submariner, but I don't know if I like it that much. Sure. Yeah. So what I saw on eBay was it was a person selling it for like $17,000. I'm like, dude, like, all right. there's either a crazy deal or there's like some fishy stuff going on. I start reading through the description, and they said that they just took a regular Submariner and put a custom blue bezel on it. And it got me thinking, I'm like, dude, I've got that black Submariner that's literally just sitting there, and I'm not wearing it. So why don't I just take it? I'll send it out, have someone custom put a blue bezel on it. And now that watch is back in rotation. Okay. So it's a stainless steel. It's not a real Cookie Monster, which, you know, would be an all white gold, but I don't care about that. Yeah, I like that I'm wearing the watch now and it's in my regular rotation. Yeah. I do have a lot of watches. I actually, I don't even want to count them all. I don't even want to know, but I've got a bunch of different winders, and I enjoy them. There's something really cool about them. Like I got into it because there were certain things that I did and certain achievements that I received that I achieved, and I was like, you know what, I want to kind of mark this moment with this. So I always kind of think about like, oh, you know what, like, had a great year, I'm going to treat myself to X watch, you know, and so that's kind of why I got into them. And I mean, and the Rolexes, they're pricey. I'm not going to say that they're inexpensive, but it's kind of like parking money somewhere. It's kind of like parking money in a bank, where if I had to get out of it, I could always sell them here and there if I'm buying them at the right price.
Yeah, for sure.
I've gotten into watching a couple of these guys online, like Vukum and a couple of these other watch guys. And, you know, I start to follow what these things go for and how much they're selling them for. And it's kind of neat to see that as like a whole little side thing, you know?
Yeah. Do you know Alex Serrano by chance? Do you follow him on Instagram? No Waitlist. This is, he's a big watch guy. He's like in that gray market area do you know Luxury Bazaar? It's a big company.
No. But I mean, it's probably along the lines of the people I'd follow.
Yeah.
Send me his stuff. I'll follow him after this.
For sure. He's a local. He's like in the, you know, like Austin Huffman from Valvetronic, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he drives all of his stuff.
Is so nice.
Yeah. I worked for them. I did their podcast like 2 years ago for Valvetronic. So we had him on the podcast, and he was fascinating. He does crazy sales and watches. But yeah, dude, they're awesome.
So you know what's funny about that Valvetronic? So I do have a decent following online. Yeah. And I get people hit me up all the time about like, hey, would you do this? Would you look at that? And I had someone from Valvetronic. I didn't really know the company at the time, but someone had reached out asking about the exhaust. I wanted to put an exhaust on my i8, and I was like, I don't really know who this is. Like, I don't really. I'm just gonna kind of like blow it off. And then I started seeing stuff for Valvetronic, and I was like, oh, they're a pretty legit company. Yeah. And then I met him, and then I was like, you know, I'll do that. And then I was like, let me go back to that message, and they already found another i8. Yeah. But I was like, oh man, I could have got like a sick i8 exhaust on that thing. It would have been cool. But
I think I was working there when another i8 came in. Because they had an i8 come in, and we were like all looking under it because there's like that weird speaker.
Yep.
And we were like, what the heck? Like we were all laughing at it. But I met Austin because we had him on the podcast. He's a great guy.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the i8 gets a little bit of hate too from like car guys. Yeah. But dude, it's a great car, man.
Sure.
It really is.
Sure.
I mean, obviously I drive a Cybertruck, but I like kind of things that are like a little unique. I like the 911, and I'm sure at some point I will own a 911 and I'll swallow my pride and just buy one. But like, they're so common, dude. You go to a Cars and Coffee, and there's 50 different 911s. Yeah. I mean, all right, some of them are Turbo S's, some of them are GT3 RS's, which are freaking killer cars, but there's just so many of them. And like, to the person who's like not really into cars, they all look the same. Like they do, unless you're like a nuance of like, well, this is a .2 and that's like, okay, I get it, guys. Like, chill out, like, you know. But like, I like something that's just different, you know, something that like you don't see all the time. That's what drew me to the i8. I love the doors. You don't see very many of them, and mine's like customized perfectly. It's not over the top. It's got a really nice carbon kit on the bottom. The roof is all blacked out. Nice wheels. I mean, it's a beautiful car. Different custom steering wheel because the steering wheels are ugly and a sin in those things. Okay. But this thing is beautiful. I don't drive it as much as I probably should, but you know, I do have it. I have it at my house right now. One of the things that's been great is last year I got a lift in my garage, so I had to do like the whole. It's so good because before I would have like one nice car at my house and all the rest of them would be up in the hangar. So what I did is I had to get a new garage door because the way the garage doors come up, they kind of don't give you that much height. So I had to get one of those high lift garage doors, and then I got the lift put in, and now I can have like two, call them nice cars at my house. Just stack them up one on top of the other.
Yeah.
So right now at the house, I have the Lambo and the i8, but I'll switch them around. Sometimes I'll have the Chevelle there, and wherever else I'm not driving, I just park them up at the hangar.
For sure.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
I like that correlation between like cars, watches, and planes. Like there's so much that just goes together. Like there's so many like cool like car-based watches. You know what I mean?
They're really, and actually the funny thing is I own no Breitlings, and Breitlings have such a huge heritage to aviation, but like I've tried them on, they just don't do anything for me, man.
Yeah.
I wish they did, because like that heritage just, I'll have to put on a watch and I'll have to see like, hey, do I like this? Is this one like something that like speaks to me? Not all my watches have to be like super high end watches either. I've got like some like old vintage watches. Like I have a watch that's from the 1980. It's like a birth year watch.
Okay.
Not like crazy expensive, but it's really cool. I think it's neat having something that's like as old as I am. You know?
Yeah.
I had a Rolex, like a Batman. What is it? Is it an Oyster Perpetual? What's like the watch? And then it's blue and black.
Yeah. So blue and black ones, there would be two different ones. You'd have a Batman or a Batgirl.
Okay.
It just really depends on what kind of band. So if it's
it was just stainless.
Yeah. So if it's Oyster or Jubilee, so the Oyster one would be considered Batman.
Okay.
The Jubilee would be considered Batgirl. I have a Batgirl.
Okay. Nice.
So I had that was maybe the third or fourth watch that I bought.
Okay.
Because my Submariner and my Sea Dweller both were on Oyster, so I wanted to do something that was on Jubilee.
Nice.
And actually, the funny thing is, when I bought that watch, I really didn't like Jubilee as much because I thought it looked too fancy. And now that I have it, I've totally fallen in love with the Jubilee, and it doesn't seem as fancy anymore. Now that I have it and I wear it, my business partner, I just got him into watches, so he bought his first one. He actually bought a Batman as his first one.
Nice.
He's looking at a date just right now for his second one. So I connect him with another guy I met through the cars that deals in watches, and he's literally probably gonna get that this week or maybe over the weekend. So
yeah,
it's infectious, bro. I don't know.
I tried on my buddies the Batman, and then he had a root beer.
Yep.
The root beer was sick. It was really cool, like the bronze, or gold type of deal.
Check this one out. This is a cool one. This is pretty neat. Here, go ahead and pass it down. That's on Oyster Flex. So the cool thing about that one is it kind of like it dresses it down a little bit when it's on the Oyster Flex. So it's still a super nice watch.
Okay.
It's a meteorite dial in there too, so it's pretty cool. But it
That's
still
awesome.
dresses it down. Yeah, like that dial was in space. Like how cool is that? You know, like
that's crazy.
Yeah. You know, and again,
it's all in the
these
detail.
watch things. You know, it's one of those things that like you're never like walking around flashing around and being like, oh, look at me. I buy them for myself because there's something special about it. Something that you put it on, you're like, dude, this is cool.
For sure.
You know, and most people, let's be honest, most people have no freaking clue.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, it could be a Timex, you know. It doesn't,
yeah, for
but
sure.
like, it's just the people that do know, they know. And it's, you kind of have like that instant connection, that instant credibility that like, okay, cool. Like kind of like being in shape, you know, you see a person, you see that you're your 40s and you're still in shape. Like, okay, I've got like an instant credibility. I've got an instant like respect for that person. Cause I know what it takes, you know?
Absolutely.
Same deal. You see someone with a Rolex, you're like, all right, well, I know what it took to get that watch. If you can have that on your wrist and you're into cars, like I know the kind of person you are. I know the kind of dedication you put into everything, because you can't just like slack off. I mean, unless you like somehow luckily hit the Powerball or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, which is probably slim to no chances, right? Like you've got to be doing something, you know.
Definitely.
Let's talk. Maybe there's a way to collaborate. Maybe there's a way to do this, you know. And you know, not always has to come back to business, but I just know that like I can say that if I see a person fit, wearing a nice watch, driving a nice car, that tells me a lot about that person without even knowing them at all.
For sure, without a doubt. Well, I want to wrap it up here soon. But before, I want to ask, like, your advice for someone who obviously left a big mainstream business and started their own thing, advice for upcoming business owners and entrepreneurs, and then we always end it with advice for us specifically, whether that's for the pod, whether it's life advice. So do what you want with that.
So I would say any kind of advice would be find some niche thing. I don't care what it is, but something that you really love doing, you know, because you're going to be putting a lot of freaking time into it, bro. You're going to be working weekends. You're going to be working nights. Like, you don't want it to feel work. Whatever that niche thing is, if you can solve a problem, you'll be able to make money with it. You know, whether it's a service, a product. I tend to lean a little bit more on the service side because I feel like you have got a little bit more control over the service. product stuff kind of is here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. You're always kind of chasing the next product that you want to sell. So for me, I would say try and find something more service related, something that you can connect with people and get more business that way. But find something that you're really good at, be the best at it, obsess over it, like literally think about it. All you do with your time is think about it and kind of ways to improve it and go in. Throw it in there. Just throw your hat in the ring and go all in. Because I'll tell you, there were other things I always tried to do, is like side hustles while I worked at AT&T, and none of them worked out because it was like you're half in, you still have your regular job, you still got all of your regular income. So like everything you try and do, like a drop ship or whatever else kind of big thing that you read online that would, none of it works out because you're always like, you don't have a parachute. Like, you know, I should say you have a parachute, you know, but when you say, you know what, I know this is going to work, I'm all in, you jump. Like, you've got to make it work. There's no plan B.
For sure.
You know, like when I resigned from AT&T that day, dude, I still remember, I bought that Model S that I have. I still have it, by the way. That's another car. We didn't even talk about that. But the Model S, I just bought that car and had a car payment on it and everything. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to like leave my job. Like, I've got this car payment. And how am I going to keep paying this? And I'm literally going to go from like making really good money to making nothing. But like, I just knew. I was driving to work. I remember driving to my office because I had to hand in my laptop and all that stuff. I couldn't even have the music on. It was like, I had to be silent in the car because it was just like, I was so scared of what I was going to do. And even pulling the parking lot, literally sitting there, I'm like, is this the right choice? Is this the right decision I'm going to make? And yeah, I mean, it definitely was. But you don't know that at the time, you know? So just bet on yourself, do it, and do it better than everyone else.
Love that.
So for you guys, advice for you guys, actually, I would say you guys are on the right path. Like, find that niche, and you guys kind of have it with your street interviews. They're great, man. They're fantastic. They really are.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And just keep going down that path. And dude, who knows where it's going to go? Honestly, I have no idea where it's going to go with Marshall either.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, maybe people are going to get sick of us one day. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's fun. I mean, we get to have a lot of fun together, hang out. You guys are doing the same thing. You guys get to have a lot of fun, get a lot of engagement. And I like that you're not just keeping it here in Westchester. You're going on trips. You go to, like, what was it, Pittsburgh? Not Pittsburgh, Penn State. We went to Penn State, Alabama.
We did a little college tour in November. We did Alabama, Pitt, and Michigan.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah. Pittsburgh. I thought it was Pittsburgh. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like doing that, taking it out other places, and then you're exposing your podcast to other people who had never really heard about it. Because locally, you're definitely going to probably get like a way more bigger following from like Westchester. Yeah. But as you start doing that in other different colleges, you're going to pick up different people. They're like, oh, yo, I dig what that guy's doing.
Absolutely.
And they're going to follow and they're going to grow.
I love that. Appreciate that. Seriously.
Of course, man.
Well, Ed, thank you very much for being here. I'm sure I'll see you around.
This has been a blast, man. This has been a blast.
For sure. Best of luck with Marshall and everything else.
Bro, definitely.
Motive Podcast.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank you.
for coming. Motive Podcast signing off. See you next week. Peace.